Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us and welcome to our ICAS All-Stars webinar. We're delighted that you could join us and thank you for taking the time out of your busy weeknight to join us for a chance for us to take through our exciting brand new initiative, the ICAS All-Stars program. This initiative is designed to celebrate academic excellence at the highest level. And we're really excited today to be able to share with you and take you through everything you need to know about All-Stars, including how it works, how students perform, how students can prepare, and also thank you so much to those of you who are able to share with us some pre-prepared questions. That was really helpful given the scale and the volume of attendees for this webinar. It's allowed us to be able to get a really clear picture of the types of questions you're asking and the information that we can then share back with you. So thank you so much for that. My name is Matt Lynn, Head of Global Sales at Janison, and I'm delighted to be joined this evening to share with you around the ICAS All-Stars project, Chelsea Burnell, who is our Head of Test Development, and also Nick Connolly, our Head of Assessment and Reporting. Chelsea is responsible for designing the structure and the content of ICAS All-Stars, and Nick will work with us this evening to explain the scoring results and the recognition components of the ICAS All-Stars competition. So this session this evening is a chance to ideally give you a clear idea and understanding of the All-Stars academic competition, how it works, what to expect, and how your child can prepare for this exciting new challenge. It's our aim also, with the insights that you've shared with us around some key questions, is to give some insights around that. We've also specifically designed the presentation around your questions to ensure that we've covered a lot of information around the test structure, some of the information around the duration of the assessment, the way it's broken down. So hopefully we'll be able to, as we work through the assessment this evening, we'll be able to work with you and support you in getting a better understanding of the ICAS All-Stars academic competition. So a bit of an agenda for this evening. Firstly, we'd like to be able to lead you through the ICAS All-Stars initiative, how it's come to life at this point in time. Talk a little bit around the intent behind it and the way it's currently structured. And then from there, we'll go into a little more detail around the exam format and structure on the test days as they come up in due course. We'll also work with you and discuss more around preparing for the ICAS All-Stars competition, and then break down some components around results and recognition. We'll also unpack a few commonly asked questions and share some answers with you. And then finally explain, for those of you who haven't had a chance to register yet, some insights into how to go about that process. And then finally, we'll wrap up the session and seek any additional feedback from you. So that gives you a bit of a breakdown of our session today. Firstly, what is ICAS All-Stars? So we are delighted to offer this brand new initiative to our students and keen ICAS enthusiasts. And the key idea really around this new academic competition is it offers students the opportunity to be recognised as state ICAS champions. We often get asked, and one of the most common questions from families and from students who engage and they really enjoy this, the ICAS competition, is what's next? We'd love to be able to do something more. How can we participate and engage throughout the year in ICAS activities beyond just the single ICAS competition that occurs every year in August? And so we're really enthusiastic about delivering and a piloted initiative this year of the ICAS All-Stars competition as a first step to offering an additional opportunity throughout the year to engage in ICAS. For this particular pilot first year for the ICAS All-Stars competition, there is some limited eligibility criteria. Firstly, students must live in New South Wales or Victoria. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in due course. And this is part of our pilot to ensure that this is a competition that we can begin to take forward in future years. And also, as part of the ethos of the ICAS All-Stars competition, is that we're asking that students must have achieved a merit or more, higher in the ICAS 2024 academic competition. This is really about the next step of academic achievement for students. This is really about us celebrating academic assessment and excellence in the same way that we celebrate state recognition for sporting achievements, for example, and those sorts of things. We really want to be able to raise the profile of students who thrive academically and demonstrate that through this program. So in our pilot first year, All-Stars is only available, as we've said, in New South Wales within Sydney and Victoria and Melbourne. Our future vision, though, is very much to create an inclusive and accessible competition right across the country for all eligible students across Australia and New Zealand. So we do thank you very much for working with us in this pilot year as we launch this. And we've been delighted with the reception and the insights around that to better understand how we can structure this new competition moving forward. So why? Firstly, it's an opportunity to recognise the best and the brightest, to be able to bring students together who've enjoyed the ICAS experience, who would like to take the next step, challenge themselves even further at the highest level and take on this opportunity. Secondly, we'd love to be able to support students who thrive on a challenge. We love to be able to throw doozy questions their way to be able to see how they unpack and how their incredible brains work. And so it's a chance for us to be able to celebrate that and provide opportunities for them to stimulate themselves through this. We want to be able to offer the opportunity for students to be recognised as a state champion, to celebrate their academic excellence, as well as the challenge and the grit that students demonstrate through participating in this project and this opportunity. We also are keen to be able to set students up for future success. So supporting them, hopefully building their confidence, engaging with this opportunity, feeling excited and enjoying the challenge and the experience. And so we're really delighted about being able to deliver this to you and your child to be able to engage in ICAS All-Stars for the first year. I'm now going to hand over to Chelsea Bernard to discuss the exam format and the structure.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very excited that so many people are interested in learning more about our new assessment. We were certainly very excited both to develop it and to take it through testing with our teams here. And I just want to go through a comparison really of how is the format of ICAS, which everyone here should be familiar with, different to the format of ICAS All-Stars. So we'll look at some of the similarities and some of the differences there. So when we think about the ICAS competition, you have 6 subjects. So you've got the maths, English, science, writing, digital technologies, and spelling. And your child will probably enroll in, or definitely have enrolled in at least one, but very likely has enrolled in a number of them. They've already shown that they have aptitude in one, and often you like to stretch them in another. Or they're showing excellence across the board. ICAS All-Stars isn't separated into subjects. Instead, it's we have units of work, and they assess literacy, numeracy, science, reasoning, and logic skills across 7 discrete units of work. And all of this occurs in the one assessment. So the assessments that are offered are therefore quite different too. So for ICAS competition, the assessments are available for each of those 6 subjects for a variety of year levels. For the ICAS All-Stars, there are only 3 assessments available. One for the junior years, so that's for years 3, 4, and 5. One for the intermediate, so that's for years 6, 7, and 8. And one for the senior years, that's years 9, 10, 11, and 12. The questions are also different. If you've ever tried a practice test for ICAS, you'll know that each question that you have that you're presented with is worth 1 mark. However, in our All-Stars competition, some questions are worth more than 1 mark. And they might have multiple parts to the question itself. In some of them, there'll be more than 1 task that you have to complete on a question page. This is important because where we're used to parents and children talking about questions, in the ICAS All-Stars, we talk about marks. So how many marks do you have? When you're doing the ICAS competition, up in the top of the screen as you're going through, you have the number of questions appearing to you. So 40 questions. As you move on to the next one, 39, 38. In the All-Stars competition, that number of questions is really the number of pages. So each test page that you go is a question, but you might have multiple things, so more marks. So there might only be 23 or 28 or 19. And it's different for each test. However, both ICAS All-Stars and ICAS Competition are written by the same group. So we had the same group together creating both of these sets of assessments. So they do have that feeling across them all. The test format, like ICAS Competition, is only online. So both of them are, you'll need to bring your own device and sit that in the test centre. The prizes are also slightly different. So per state and region, the top student of every year level in ICAS receives a medal. In ICAS All-Stars, per state, the top scoring student of each year level receives $500 and the top scoring student of each assessment receives $1,000. And Matt will be going into this in a bit more detail in a later slide. ICAS eligibility is also different. Anyone is eligible to sit the ICAS competition as long as you're a school student between years 2 and 12. ICAS All-Stars, though, only students who have scored a merit or above, which is the top 45% of test takers, and at least one of the previous year's ICAS subjects are eligible for All-Stars. For that reason, the test itself is actually a lot more difficult than your standard ICAS test, because the group of people who are sitting it are that much brighter. So we've aimed a test that is at the same middle level, but of a higher group of students. I know it's a lot of information to take on. You're like, oh wow, that's a lot. So what I've got here is instead the first page that students will be presented with in the test. So you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek. And this hopefully will explain the format a little bit more, but I'll also explain it a bit more on the next page. This particular one is for our intermediate test. So that was for our year 6, 7, and 8 students. They've got a lovely banner welcoming them to the competition. And they're told that in the test, they'll be presented with 7 units of work with a total of 45 marks, that each unit has a different situation, and that they need to use their literacy, numeracy, science, and reasoning skills to answer the questions. They are also warned here that unlike the questions in their ICAS test, some questions in the All-Stars academic competition are worth more than 1 mark, and some have more than one task that you have to complete on the page. And we're just reminding them that they have to remember to scroll down on the test screen and answer all the questions. And then they're prompted to move into the test. So what is the structure and the format of the ICAS All-Stars assessment? Hopefully those people who have raised their hands are asking this question right now, so I'll take you through it. So as I've mentioned, there are 3 assessments: junior for years 3, 4, and 5, intermediate for years 6, 7, and 8, and senior for years 9, 10, 11, and 12. For all 3 tests, students are allowed 1 hour to complete all of the questions. The number of marks is slightly different. In junior, there are 40 marks. In intermediate and senior, there are 45 marks. However, the number of units that they will be presented with is around the same. There's 7 units, but within them, there'll be around about 5 to 8 marks per unit. There might be 3 to 8 questions within that. So most units draw on the same skills that students use to succeed in the top 3 ICAS subjects. So that's English, mathematics, and science. Each unit offers a situation, and students need to use a combination of those skills, so literacy, numeracy, reasoning, logic, general knowledge, digital literacy, in order to answer the questions. We're really looking for someone who is able to combine those skills together in a way that allows them to engage with the question and to show that they're really a bit of an all-rounder. The types of questions are the same apart from the marking system. So the style of questions, we call them the interactions, are multiple choice, multiple choices. There might be a gap match, a table completion, a drag and drop. These are all the sorts of questions similar to the ones that students will be interacting with in NAPLAN. We use the same platform that NAPLAN uses, and these are the interactions that are available on that. They're also very similar to the ones that they will use in classrooms, different cloze activities or matching activities. Some questions do require students to type a single number or word into a box. Spelling is important here. However, both American and Australian spelling are accepted. So we're not, you don't need to drill people into only spelling Australian. We do understand that both are perfectly acceptable. We also have a number of tools that are enabled on the screen itself. So a notepad and a calculator are available on the test screen. We often have calculators available in the ICAS test. It's always available in the science test and for the senior maths test. We have enabled it for all the questions in All-Stars across the board in case it is required. We have not ever used the notepad facility on the platform that we engage this test in. And because of that, we are actually asking the testing centres to provide a physical piece of paper and a pen in case students find that clumsy to use during the test. We do think that it is essential to be able to do working out as you are going through this assessment. So they have been advised to provide all students with pens and paper, and they will be returning, collecting that back at the end of the test so that they're not able to share the information with others. So except for the laptop, students are not allowed to bring anything else into the test room.
In terms of preparing for the ICAS All-Stars competition, look, we do really encourage you to consider a few key areas here, but most of all, and really what we do want to reassure you with first and foremost is there's nothing that compares more to being a child who's had the opportunity just to have a good night's rest and a chance to be able to feel comfortable and confident in entering the exam space and feeling settled in that space. That's first and foremost the most important thing is to be able to arrive at the examination centre, to be able to sit and to feel like they're well prepared for the examination experience. So first and foremost, nothing beats a good night's sleep. However, when it comes, and we know that many students love it and would like to practice, let's talk through some of the key areas where you can do this. So given the nature of the ICAS All-Stars assessment, given that it's broken down and uses a range of items which build on strengths in English, mathematics and science and other problem solving and reasoning skills, we encourage you to explore practicing those areas if that's of interest to you. Spend the time on those areas, take some time to rehearse, work through those things. And because of the nature of the question styles, and as Chelsea was sharing with us, the ICAS All-Stars uses the same interaction types as ICAS, same interaction types as NAPLAN. So your child will very likely have had or been exposed to these experiences before. Even the year twos coming to year threes this year will have been exposed to NAPLAN over the next few weeks. So if they've built some confidence and familiarity with those test items in those particular tests, including NAPLAN, they'll have some familiarity with this experience. They'll also have that familiarity with the browser itself. So one of the first components that's really critical is that a student feels familiar and comfortable with the testing environment. In this case, if they've done any of these assessments before, understanding the eligibility for ICAS, they've sat ICAS before, any student will likely have participated in NAPLAN previously. They've had that exposure to the testing platform and the familiarity with that environment. So coming with that then, those multiple choice items, the drag and drop interactive item types, the gap match and single word number responses should be relatively familiar to your child in one way or another, but just to make sure that they're clear and familiar with those types of question styles. A key component of the ICAS All-Stars competition is multi-step problems. So this is where as Chelsea shared with us, for example, on one page, you might have a range of components to a specific problem that require a range of different skills. It might involve an English skill and a reasoning and problem solving skill, for example, aligned with mathematics or science. And so what we recommend is for students to be familiar with a multi-step style problem. And there's multitudes of ways to practice with this. And to be honest, ChatGPT and other things are your best friends in designing styles of questions to practice and rehearse. If that's of interest to you, feel free to do that. It's a freely available tool. You can ask AI to design for you some items that you can use in that way. And that allows you a very accessible component to be able to get some similar question skills to access and to time yourself in how to solve those. So we do encourage you to if you wish to seek some additional information or to practice, multi-step problems are a key component of the ICAS All-Stars competition. But most importantly, and I think it's critical that we say this, it's not about general memorization, this assessment. It's not about having done a single task that will be repeated elsewhere in this particular test. This is around about being presented with a range of problems that require critical thinking, the application of English, mathematics and science skills, as well as literacy and numeracy and general knowledge skills to support the answer and resolution of a problem. So this is why it's the All-Stars competition. It's designed to be a challenge. It's designed to be difficult. It's designed to be difficult for high-achieving students because it's the next layer of challenge for them. It's a chance for them to have succeeded and performed at a high level in the main ICAS competition, and now this is the next challenge for them. And so we do encourage students to stay curious through the experience. Think critically through the experience, and most of all, embrace the challenge, because it is a challenge. It's designed to be a challenge. We're working hard to be able to identify and celebrate high achievement in academic success and excellence, and ideally celebrating that at the state level to really be able to celebrate the work that students are doing through this competition. So in terms of preparation, these are the key areas we recommend if you really like to do a bit more homework and spend some time on these areas. Focus on these core skills, break that down, particularly the multi-step problems, and you'll be well prepared. But the key is as well, familiarity, good night's sleep, keep the stress levels low. I'll hand over to Nick Connolly, our Head of Analysis and Reporting, to discuss the results breakdown.
Thanks, Matt. So when the competition's over, you'll be getting a certificate with a report on it that will be emailed to the address that you signed up with. So it won't be on paper, it'll be a PDF, and it'll be full of the details about how your child performed in the ICAS All-Stars. And obviously that will be once the competition is completed. The awards are slightly different. So we'll be giving awards for Victoria and New South Wales separately. And we'll be doing awards against two different categories. Firstly, we'll be looking at how the student performed against the year group, so year 5 or year 3, but also we'll be looking at how they performed in their tier. So as Chelsea mentioned, we've got 3 tiers: junior, intermediate, and senior, and those tiers cover multiple year levels. And we know from experience that there are some students who achieve above their age range. There's large overlaps in ability across those ages. So we want to be able to let students see that how they did against kids slightly older or slightly younger than them. So we've got 2 sets of awards. So we've got year level awards, and you can see here they'll be we've got a number of them, so there'll be multiple levels, and they're all a little bit space themed. They're all based on things you might see in the sky because it's All-Stars. And for the tier awards, they'll be getting awards similar to the high distinction, etc. that we have in ICAS, but with different names, this time named after visible stars in the night sky, because again, it's All-Stars. So each of the students will get 2 different kinds of awards on the certificate, which will say how well they did compared to the other students in their year level and in their tier. So if we just go on, we'll see what's on the back page. So on the back page of the report, we'll have a breakdown. This will give you some idea. These are made up units, but they're designed to give you a sense of the flavour of the styles of questions that Chelsea's team has created. So what you can see here is we've got a number of units. They've got names that your child will be familiar with having sat the test. They'll remember what it was about. Oh yeah, there was a question about mazes. These are ones we've made up. So there isn't actually a question about mazes, or is there? But let's say there is. So let's say the first one was called Mazes and Mystery, and it was about numeracy, but it was also about reasoning. All of these units have multiple elements to them. We'll tell you, in this case, it's a student called Bill Smith. We'll tell you what their score was for that unit. We will tell you what the average score was for the year that they're in. So in this case, Bill is in year 6, and the average score for year 6 on that unit was 4. We'll also tell you what the average score for the whole tier was. So they were in the intermediate tier. So that included some students in year 7 or year 8. And the average score there was, say, 5. And what the maximum score was. So in this case, say 7. And you can see there's a range of different things, and they cover multiple things. So general knowledge, reasoning and technology, numeracy and literacy together, literacy and data. So it's a little bit hard to unpack exactly which skills a particular student needed to use, because what we're really interested in here is how students manage to blend their skills across the curriculum and across different things that they've learned, because that's what you need once you're in the outside world, but also as you progress through your time at school, you need to be able to pull those skills together. So we're hoping this will be informative to you. As Matt has pointed out, this is a pilot. So what we're interested in is finding out, well, what can we tell you about how you performed, how your student performed, and over time we'll be looking at ways of developing this further. So back to you, Matt, in terms of the awards, the prizes.
Thank you, Nick.
Rather.
So in terms of recognition, as Nick said, every student will receive a digital certificate with the results and with their outcome from their ICAS All-Stars competition. For the very high achievers, as you well know, we do have some high-level recognition to celebrate the success of these high-achieving students. Firstly, for each year level, we have state-level champions. So for the top scorer in each year level per state, we're awarding a $500 MasterCard e-gift card to celebrate the success of those champions and that incredible achievement. Then following the year level achievement, we also have tier level champions. So this is where we've got students, for example, in the junior or the senior assessment, for example, in the senior tier, who are recognised as the tier level champion. So this is outside of the year level champion. This is over and above that. This is the champion for the tier. The top score in each assessment tier per state is awarded a $1,000 MasterCard e-gift card. So within each of the 3 tiers, 3 students will receive both awards, because one student will receive the top score in each for the year level, and they'll also receive the top score for the total assessment tier that they've participated in, winning a total of $1,500 in the form of a MasterCard gift card. So an incredible achievement. And this student would be recognised then as the top student in their year and for their assessment tier, and certainly an incredible achievement, as well as all students who've achieved this level of recognition. So this really is recognising the best of the best in this achievement as the next step on from the ICAS competition. We'll look forward to being able to share and celebrate this recognition following the competition, and I'll give you some key dates later on to give you some insights around how we'll communicate and the test windows and so on. Following on some of the additional questions and answers that we've had coming through, which has been brilliant, thank you, and we'll give you more opportunities to do this throughout, because acknowledging the fact that you might walk away from this webinar, I know when I watch these opportunities, I often walk away and then wake up and suddenly go, why didn't I think of this particular item when I was putting my questions in? So if you do have additional questions, we do have another opportunity for you to ask them, and we'll put them up on our website within the Q&A section for ICAS All-Stars. So firstly, and this is one that we've just briefly touched on, but are the test questions harder than ICAS? And the answer is yes. The questions are designed to challenge top performing students. Okay, they require multi-step thinking across a range of areas. While the question styles are similar to ICAS, particularly in terms of the interaction types, students will need to apply their knowledge in a range of complex ways. Will students get to see their answers immediately after the test? So no, in terms of, and as with standard ICAS academic competition, question and answers are not released immediately after the test. They're released at a formal results release time. And at that point in time, students will receive their final scores and recognition, as well as their participation certificates for engaging and taking on the challenge. Will ICAS All-Stars be offered again next year? As we've shared today and we've communicated across our website, this is a pilot event, but our vision is very much to expand it in future years to be accessible right across Australia and New Zealand. So we're very excited about the possibilities of this assessment and this opportunity for students to be able to engage in this more broadly, thinking about all that comes with that around national champions and opportunities. But we do, and we're extremely excited to be able to offer this to New South Wales and Victoria. In this instance. In terms of taking breaks during the test, the test is timed and structured, as Chelsea shared. It's a 1 hour assessment. So breaks are generally not permitted during the exam. So just ask that take that into account when you're supporting your child's preparation. We also recommend that students arrive well rested and prepared for the full duration of the test. So they're prepared to come in and sit that 1 hour long assessment and be able to take that. So it's good for their concentration too. It just allows them to be able to see that assessment through. Another question we get, and we've had recently, is can parents watch the event? So look, in this instance, and given the nature of the high level competition, high stakes nature of ICAS, it's a supervised competition. So we can't unfortunately have parents come and be involved in terms of watching the event take place. Very similar to our standard ICAS academic competition, but also academic competitions the world over. That's our standard practice. However, parents will receive the full results and recognition updates once the scores are released. And so those opportunities and that information will come through. And you'll have that additional information when those results are released. How to register. So we do encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunity yet to register and you'd like to be involved, spaces are filling fast, and I'll talk with you a little about the timelines, but essentially our closing date for registrations is next Friday, the 21st of March. And so in terms of how to register, first of all, I've got a QR code here if you want to navigate directly to the ICAS All-Stars registration page on the Janison and the ICAS Assessments website. And essentially from there, you can navigate to a button that says Enter Now. And that will then take you to the opportunity to connect with our authorised testing centre, whether that's through Victoria and our testing centres across Melbourne, or in New South Wales and our testing centres through EduVision across New South Wales and Sydney. And so if you're interested, if you haven't had the opportunity to do that, go to the ICAS All-Stars website. I've got their QR code here if you want to link directly to it. Otherwise, just Google ICAS All-Stars and you should be able to navigate directly to the page and get that additional information, and then move on to our authorised partners and test centres who will be able to support your engagement and your child's engagement in this assessment. So key dates and details. Firstly, the core event dates and the dates that you'll be booking for if you're looking to have your child sit and participate in this assessment are the dates between Saturday the 12th of April through to Saturday the 3rd of May. So we've got a few weeks there where the authorised testing centres, both in Sydney and Melbourne, have a range of options and a range of locations to be able to sit this assessment. As we've said, it's a pilot this year, so those places are within the regions that they've been able to offer at this point in time. However, moving forward, we're looking forward to being able to expand and grow that. Registrations close Friday the 21st of March. And then once the assessment and reporting has been done, results will be shared with students and their families, generally within 10 business days after the last test day. Okay. And then following results release and eligibility checks. So once again, students must have participated at a merit level or above in their previous ICAS 2024. We will then announce the winners and make sure that we can communicate that through to families. So winners will be personally notified by phone and email, but also once contacted and we've caught up with the family, we're really enthusiastic to celebrate these incredible achievements on social media, recognising this outstanding performance. So and also just to celebrate all students who've been able to engage in the competition. So that gives you a bit of a sense of the key dates that we've got coming up around, first of all, the test window, when the registrations are closing for the last registrations. And so due to registrations closing in the next week, our authorised test centres are trying to put on additional dates, particularly for the tiers that are filling up and at the point where additional dates. So keep an eye on things. If there's a period of time that you haven't seen available or it's booked up, they are looking at adding additional sessions wherever they can. So I do encourage you, if you've had a look, something's been booked out and a date that suited you isn't available, go back and check. They are actively trying to find new opportunities for your child, your family to be involved. Look, that brings us to the end of our ICAS All-Stars parent webinar for today, and we do thank you so much for joining us, particularly on what is no doubt an extremely busy weeknight. What we do ask is, as we move forward here, if you do have any feedback or additional questions that you'd like us to consider, or things that you might not have been able to answer through this webinar at this point in time, please do put it up. I've put a QR code there, scan, put some additional details in under the form that you'll get sent through to from this QR code that will allow us just to better understand the types of questions that you're still seeking to be answered. So hoping, given the feedback that we've got, given the synthesizing of all the questions we've had through, we've answered most of them throughout session this evening. However, if you do have more, or you're keen for additional insights around the nature of the competition or things like that, please do let us know, and we'll do our best to keep you updated. Thank you so much on behalf of us all for joining us, and we're very much looking forward to connecting with you and your family as you engage with the ICAS All-Stars competition. And most importantly, best of luck. Wishing you the most wonderful experience through it all. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.